welcome everyone to another episode of Let's Talk Photography. Yeah, I want to thank you all for tuning in for another crazy week of photography. And as many of you know, yesterday was kind of a bombshell, sort of, in my opinion. And today I want to talk about that. I want to talk all about the latest release of the Sony A7V. Okay, we're going to be talking about that. And I'm going to give my opinion now. Clearly, as many of you know, I've shot Nikon my entire photography career, and Panasonic Lumix as well, right? My first Panasonic was a GH5, and Nikon was a D5100. Shout out to the D5100. And that's what I've been using all the time. Matter of fact, I'm using a Lumix right now for this live stream, and I just did a runway shoot, as many of you know, on that video I just uploaded on Tuesday, and that was with the Nikon Z6 Mark III, and it did a phenomenal job. Feel free to go check that out. So with all that said, I am not against Sony. I actually really admire their marketing for sure. Their marketing is bar none the best, and why they were able to penetrate the market so effectively in the industry. I do have some gripes with Sony, how they piecemeal certain features in each of their cameras, and their product line is so it's so saturated that they don't want to kill one product line or cannibalize one product line over another. So they hold back on things that honestly wouldn't cost that much money for them to implement into their camera system. So that's just me. With that said, their E-mount system is really amazing because I have yet to have seen a lens manufacturer that doesn't make Sony E-mount, right? So you got to think about how ingenious that is, because that's usually the largest investment that most of us have in a camera system. Whether you do have Panasonic or Canon or Fuji or whatever, the lens is where all the money goes. And clearly, as many of you know, is where the value is, right? You can still sell your lens for 80-70% of what the original cost is if it's a really good lens. Like a lens is a lens is a lens. It doesn't really get old. So it was really smart for Sony to really open up its lens mount to everybody, meaning like Tamron, Sigma, Viltrox, Seven Artisans, and many, many others. And that really helped for not only established photographers who went to Sony, but also new photographers to feel safe within that system, because then they had lenses of all economic ranges to meet their budget needs. So kudos to Sony for all of that. So now, before we get into it, let me check out some of these comments. And also, I have some matter of fact, let me take some care of some business first. All right, everybody, business first. So in the meantime, in between times, if you haven't already, okay, shame on you. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on all the socials. On Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Threads, I'm on TikTok. I don't pop lock, but I am on TikTok, and I am on X, formerly known as Twitter. I need to hurry up and change that logo, but whatever. It is what it is. Go ahead, follow me on all the socials, or whichever one that works best for you. I'm very active on Instagram, Facebook for sure, but definitely Instagram and YouTube's like my jam. All right. And for those looking to better improve their photography, go on and head on over to robertsillphotography.com. Link is down below, and you can go check out my fashion photography Lightroom presets. Now, these presets you may have seen, because guess what? All the photos on my Instagram have been edited using my fashion photography Lightroom presets. And the good thing about my photography presets is that it actually supports the channel. That's right. It all comes to me. It doesn't go to Google and stuff like that, like a super chat would, but feel free to, if you want a super chat. But this really helps to support the channel. All right. And last but not least, I currently have my latest video up where I shot runway photography using the Nikon Z6 Mark III. You go ahead and check out not only the video, but most importantly, the photos that I included in the video, all shot with the Nikon Z6 Mark III and the Godox AD600 flash. All right, everything I edited was through Lightroom. Boom, bada bing. What you see is what you get. I was really happy on the performance of the Z6 Mark III and the images that came out of it. And you could check that out now on my YouTube channel. But feel free to go check that out after you watch this live stream, okay? All right, let me see here. I got a couple. Let's start from the top. Oh, Bermuda. Awesome. We're in here. That's amazing. You know, I have family in St. Martin. Okay. I'm not sure how far that is from Bermuda, but you're definitely closer to St. Martin than I am right now. So, but St. Martin, I have my grandfather's from St. Martin. So I have a whole side of family I've never yet met. I have yet to have met, unfortunately. I'd love to do that before I kick the bucket. Okay, so shout out to the Caribbeans. And then my first Nikon was the Nikon F5. Shout out to you. I still have where is, oh, there it is. I still have a film camera right there. Let me see if I'm pointing to it. Right there. That's my Nikon. Only used it one time. It still has a black and white film roll in there from, I want to say 2017, 2018. So, you know, whatever happens to it, I don't know. But there it is. I love the way it looks. We got Roy Bigsby in the house. Sony do the best events, lots of food, etc. Yeah, they definitely do. I only been to one Sony event. I would love to go and learn more about Sony because, you know, the images are stunning. Autofocus is great. The marketing is stellar. So it's a phenomenal brand. I've yet to have had any relationship with Sony. You know, maybe if my channel gets any bigger, they'll, you know, be glad to share some gear that I can test out for all of you, comparing it to Nikon or whatever it is. But the event that I did go to last year was awesome. It was super fun. And they pulled 0 stops. That's what they sure did do. Okay, I'll tell you that. Oh, Fajar, what's going on? Good to see you. Very good to see you every time, Fajar. And then we have prior to that, it was my brother's Canon AE1. Right on. Yeah, you know, I found photography through film photography when I was in film school. They put a Canon in my hand, or everybody's hand, really, and we had to learn how to do storytelling, you know, with only 36 frames. And that was such a great lesson. It was a great class. At the time, I didn't really fully understand how phenomenal and impactful that class was. But not only was that the first time for me to truly understand how to storytell in such a limitation and only 36 frames, tell the story, but also composition. Because guess what? Composition is what? King, everybody. That's right. Composition is king. And that's because of because of that film camera, right? And now when I do photography, etc., I try to remember and check myself to approach my shoots in the same way with the same limitations. Because honestly, I don't want to go through 600 photos over a photo shoot. I'd rather go over maybe 200 to 300 at max, right? And with mirrorless cameras, we can easily get lost in the mix of the shoot and excitement, and it doesn't really burn us to shoot more because our cards are our memory cards are so large, we don't really feel it. But it's not really a good practice, right? For me, I try to be a little bit more intentional, and film photography definitely gave me that lesson of intentionality, be very purposeful with your shot, framing up your shot, composing your shot, and then and being patient. Okay, so anyway, what a little rant there. Sony doesn't have a choice to be popular quickly, to be honest. So they gamble on opening up the email to other parties. with still keeping and delivering their first party G and GM lenses. Yeah, I mean, but that no, you're I think that was the secret weapon because everybody else wasn't really doing that as much. And that was the winning ticket. And that goes back to my point of like, hey, if you're a new photographer, you have almost pretty much endless amount of options when it comes to choosing E-mount lenses. You don't have to get a Sony. You could get a Sigma, right? Because Sigma was the first brand that really embraced E-mount to the nth degree, like having every one of their art lenses having a native E-mount was definitely revolutionary and really helped people to affordably get into the Sony system and stay in there as well. Okay. So, and then other brands kind of followed suit, Tamron, and as I said, Viltrox and so forth and so on. So yeah, that opening up that email was probably the smartest move they've done. And now we see like Nikon is being a lot more lax the past year with opening up their mount. And that's super beneficial because I really love the camera. But sometimes I can't afford a $3,000 lens. Like, let's just be honest. But I love the color and the performance of Nikon. So it's like you get the best of both worlds, right? And in this economy, I don't fault anybody looking for a good deal. Okay. Like that, was it 10 years ago for sure? We were like, shoot native. And I was one of those people. I was one of those people that died on that sword of shooting native. And now I'm not that way because a lot of those third-party lenses, as I mentioned like 2 live streams ago, are giving you stunning results. And even if you miss a little bit on autofocus performance compared to the native, but it's coming in at a third of the costs of the native glass. And that's hard to beat. And for me, I can get around that. I can work with that if I could afford 2 to 3 lenses to the 1 native. Okay. That's just the way it is. Let's see here. Okay, got that. Hey, Greg's in the house. What's going on? Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate that. I appreciate everybody tuning in. So let me see if I have everything I need. Of course. Oh, I did want to show you guys something. Oh yeah. Okay. So if you haven't already, as I mentioned earlier, I posted the photos that I shot about 10 days ago using a Nikon Z6 Mark III of this runway show. So I wanted to show you guys real quick some of those photos. Okay. Let me go ahead, come over here, share this. And now let me switch my screen. Boom, bada bing. All right. So here we are. This is my website. That watermark is just what the website automatically adds. So don't kill me in the comments. Okay. But I want to just show you like what I was able to capture. And let me tell you, the lighting was such a struggle. It was so freaking annoying. I'm telling you, but I'm really happy what I was able to capture and adjust later on in Lightroom. One is that the lights inside that venue were all magenta kind of lights. Like it was really, I'm not gonna lie, if I could say a curse word, it was really screwing up my, not only the white balance, but most importantly, the skin tone. It was killing me. Okay. It was killing me, especially on the white models. Like that magenta was just banging right on their skin. And like here, she's a little bit further down the runway. So the flash doesn't reach her as much, but boy, was she magenta before I start editing it. Okay. And you can see here, she looks much better because she's closer to the flash. And you can see here the magenta tone. It was a lot more magenta. So I went more toward the green. I used the AI masking tool, AI masking just for the skin, for the body and face skin. And then I took the white balance and went green, and it took away a lot of the magenta. And you can see here, she looks great because she's right in the sweet spot for my flash. Okay. But that Z6 Mark III, amazing. Okay. it really was nailing the shots, despite the challenging lighting conditions, because the lighting was a little kooky away from, the further away it was from the flash, and it was nailing it every time. I absolutely loved it. Okay. I was really, really impressed. Honestly, I could have used the AD200. So the AD600 was a little bit overkill for sure, but the color, the sharpness, detail, etc. I got using that camera, man, I'm really impressed. And that kind of goes into let me show you guys some hot pictures, okay? The last designer was pretty awesome. Let me get to it. Okay, here we go. All right. Where is it? Okay, here we go. So I want to show you this because the Z6 Mark III is very much in line with the Sony Sony A7V. Okay. And when I watched Gerald Undone, I use Photography Conspiracies and a few others, I started to really think to myself, how happy I am with what I got. Like really, 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 really happy. Aside from the images and what I was able to capture, and in such a lighter package, because the Z6 III is much lighter than the Z8, I was really happy with what I got. And quite honestly, when I saw this release, I was even more happy. It kind of confirmed, like, you know what, I'm in a good space, and I think many of you can attest to that you're in a good space when it comes to your camera system, whether you have a Canon or whatever the case. Okay, so I just want to show you this. If you want to see the video plus these photos within the video, head to my my YouTube channel now, and you can go ahead and check out that video. All right, so I just want to show you guys a few things I was able to capture using the Z6 Mark III.
I do this
Yeah.
for a living.
Yeah, that's what I do. I do this for a living. Thank you, Ric Flair. I appreciate that vote of confidence. All right. Let's see here. Kind of forced to buy Z 20mm 1.8 now. I've been rocking inexpensive Viltrox 20 2.8, which is still phenomenal even for its price, but its coating has failed me too soon, unfortunately. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. And you gotta do what you gotta do. I wonder how much is that? 20 mil? Let me look it up. Amazon. So you said Nikon Z 20mm f 1.8 lens. Oh, yeah, you're definitely gonna be spending a little penny there. You're definitely gonna be spending a little penny. I personally picked up that 16mm f 1.8 from Viltrox, and it's been doing me justice, seriously. And I believe it has a 67mm filter. Let me see what filter thread it is. It has, okay, of course it doesn't say. Multi-layer coating, blah, blah, blah. 60mm. Okay, you know what? It doesn't want to tell me, right? Oh, 77mm filter thread. But it's for 580. Okay. It's for 580. Let me see if I could share that with you guys right here. And let's go back here. So you can see right here, you get a 16mm for 580. You know, but I understand if you're not trusting the Viltrox coating, etc., then clearly you know what time it is. You go to the Nikon, and now you're looking at twice the price for 1046. So that's totally up to you. What is the filter thread on this? Does it say? Okay, I can't see it from there. You know, but just wondering if it's a bigger lens or something. But nonetheless, it's twice the price, literally. All right. So sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, I'm not mad at you. Do what you gotta do. So yes, Rob, gas got me again this Christmas. Oh my Lord. Okay. For my only 3 years of photography experience, raw files on exotic lenses are breathtaking. Sometimes you don't even need to edit them, but with my less expensive ones, I've had to adjust from time to time. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So I totally get it. I've not, if captured correctly, I've never shot an image with a third party lens and was like, you know, what in the hell was going on? Now, is it obviously third parties performance, like autofocus in particular, or focus distance different from native? That, yes, and that could be annoying. Not all of them, but definitely it could be annoying. And I notice, but I like weigh out the pros and cons, and then you rock and roll with what you want to do. I got it for $100. So I can't. Oh shoot, man, that's fantastic. You certainly can't complain. You got your money's worth. Absolutely, $100. I mean, you really gonna complain about that? So, what did he say? It's peanuts to an elephant. Peanuts to an elephant. All right. Let me get a quick drink, real quick. I've been learning to make sure I have some water and electrolytes while I go live, because I always leave like my energy is kind of drained after streaming for an hour and a half or so. So I have to replenish while we're streaming. Otherwise, I'm going to faint one of these days. Okay. You all know the number to 911, right? So just in case something happens. I want to tell you guys a little story time. Okay. Little story time. So today I was filming footage for an upcoming documentary series I want to produce and direct. So right now I'm putting together like a proof of concept and shooting B-roll with a couple of artists that will be featured in the documentary. And guess what I was shooting with today? Okay. Guess what kind of camera was I shooting with today? All right. I'm gonna let you guys, answer it in the chat. Okay. What do you think I was using? What kind of camera was I using today shooting for my documentary? Was it a full frame, APS-C, Micro Four Thirds, 1-inch sensor camera, cell phone? What do you think? All right. Well, if you said Micro Four Thirds, you just won yourself a round of applause. Okay, that's what you just got yourself. All right. And you know what? I shot with a Micro Four Thirds camera. Okay, and many of you, your heads may actually blow up, right? And before your loved ones, if the world found out you used a Micro Four Thirds camera. But I'm going to tell you right now, I actually really had a good time using it. One of the main reasons, especially if you're a solo filmmaker, is that Micro Four Thirds is way more compact. Everybody complains about weight and size. Excuse me. There are some serious benefits to shooting with Micro Four Thirds. And today, I really, really enjoyed using that camera system. And when I look at all my cameras, I look at them as tools, right? This one is for that. This one is for that. This one I like more with stills. This one I like more, interview style or documentary interview style footage. Okay, let me pull out this one. And the Micro Four Thirds had a great, I wanted it to play a certain role and it nailed it. Okay. And it was phenomenal. I had all the settings that I wanted to use that I wouldn't have missed in the full frame version. And then I had a Lumix GH6, and I'm shooting primarily with the Lumix S5 Mark II with Cinema 4K. So it's full 4K, not Ultra HD, and 422 10-bit vlog. And guess what? The GH6 can nail that and then some. Okay, the GH6 can shoot ProRes RAW, so you know I could shoot ProRes and all that jazz. Well, ProRes, but ProRes RAW externally. Um, and the other benefit is that because it's a smaller sensor, I don't crop. Like I had a preset on setting 1 for the 4K 24 frames, and then when I wanted some slow mo B-roll, I put it on preset number 2, and guess what? Zero crop at 4K 60, and it's unlimited record time. And if I wanted to shoot 4K 120, zero crop again. And that is really helpful for when I'm shooting by myself and I don't have to reframe the reframe because it got cropped in. And I'm going to tell you, the footage looks spectacular. It looks just as good as if I shot it with a full frame Lumix camera. And it was so much lighter. It was less. I was more inconspicuous because I was out in the street. I wanted a smaller footprint, and it delivered that. And it delivered the same color codec, the same everything. So I wasn't going to miss out on color quality. And being 4/3, and I was shooting outside, the light didn't affect me at all. I had an ND filter, and I was just rocking and rolling like that. I really, really enjoyed using this camera system. And I wanted to just share that little story because when you're making when you're creating work, like work with what you got, with what you have, and learn it like it's the back of your hand. If you only have a D5300 or what is it, D5500, their beginner camera, you know, what is it, APS-C DSLR, then learn it like the back of your hand. Become a Ginsu, become a master at the Ginsu of that little cheap camera and just kick ass and create. And don't allow how can you say, don't allow prejudices that you hear online to define not only the camera system you may have or only can afford, and then your ability to really turn out fantastic footage. Because I have seen some stuff shot as a filmmaker, and the dude only had a phone gimbal and his iPhone, and I'm like, damn. But what was it? It was his skill and his performance, his ability to apply his knowledge to a cell phone and a phone gimbal. And the phone gimbal you could get for $125 from DJI or something, or OHIM or whatever. And I was like, damn, he did great storytelling. He understood the tool he has and the limitations it has, because all of our cameras have limitations. And I don't want you to be limited up here due to the camera's limitations. Like, oh, I need another camera. I need this and I need that. No, what you need to do is practice, learn it like it's the back of your hand, and kick some fucking butt. And I put together like a small handheld rig for the GH6, but and one thing I wanted, it already had. So everything else was just like getting over my personal prejudice of using a Micro Four Thirds camera. It gave me the 4K. It gave me the 4K 60. It gave me 422 10-bit cinema 4K. So it was like everything that I wanted. I was like, okay. Really, there's no reason not to try it. But I had this like weird prejudice that like, oh, my A cam is full frame. But honestly, the viewer don't know. And what I'm shooting at that moment, it's perfect for, right? I'm shooting mostly B-roll of the artist doing what he does. So I'm more verite, like fly on the wall. So I don't need full frame for all that. And my arms weren't tired. My shoulder wasn't tired. I had a monitor attached to it. And so much so I enjoyed it so much that I bought a camera cage for it, so I could have a nice small running gun little kit for B-roll. So it's going to be my B-roll cam for shooting my doc. And I'm excited. And I wanted to share that with all of you so that the most important thing you can do is, learn lighting, learn composition, practice, find a reason to just turn on your camera and shoot. Even if it's just you talking into it. I've learned so much about lighting by doing this damn live stream. Okay. Quite honestly. So I just wanted to share that like, hey, I not only did I use the Micro Four Thirds, I'm actually excited that it worked out so well that I may buy a lens or two for it, just so that I have a really good performing Micro Four Thirds kit for my B-roll. So there you go. So step out of your comfort zones, give it a shot. You never know what you can learn, and most of all, fucking have fun. All right. Anyway, that was a little ranty rant situation. Let me see here. And since I already have 82 mil filter thread, I just need to buy 76. Oh yeah, you can just do that. You know, I was considering that lens too. Like if I was to get another Nikon, that lens for filmmaking would be would be awesome on a Z6 Mark III, that 14 and 24. Okay, even though the price isn't that friendly, and you know that's right. Yeah, and the filter. King Crook in the house. Is Rob cooking this release? We're going to talk about it in just literally a couple of minutes, brother. So you might want to buckle up, okay? Sony fanboys, I want to hear you. I want to hear you in the chat. Fajar, I'm glad everyone's looking up to Nikon now. The release of the ZR rental houses locally have stocked up. Damn, that Nikon ZR was probably one of the best marketing tools for not only Nikon, but the future of Nikon, really, because they were serious, but a lot of people didn't take them serious. And that ZR seems to be doing its job. So you're absolutely right. I want to see actual cinema lenses for the Z mount. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you want to see actual cinema lenses? I would. Nikon cinema lenses, but they better be affordable though. There's a lot of good affordable lenses. I would say nothing. Don't make them more than $1,000 if you're gonna do it. If it's like all manual, I mean. Picture perfect in the house. Hey. Thank you for stopping by. And we got drunk wedding photographer. Hold on. Where is my? There we go. I have an Olympus EM1 as an emergency backup in my wedding bag, together with the Olympus 7518 super tiny lens for a 150 mil equivalent. And that's a good thing too. I mean, all right, guys. All right, here we go. Look at this right here. This is what I was using today. It's the GH6 with the Shinobi Go monitor up top, and I was just shooting B-roll, and the quality was stunning. Zero heating issues, unlimited record time for 4K 60. It does 4K 120. It does HD at 240 frames a second. Full HDMI. I mean, we're just talking about capabilities. Your camera is not going to make you a better filmmaker. It's not going to make you a better storyteller, but it's the tool, and this tool packs a punch. So much so, I wish I had the GH7, quite honestly, because then I would get phase detect autofocus. That would be absolutely magical for a tiny little rig like this that I can just go in, shoot my B-roll. And because it's a 20 to 60, this is a kit lens. I only used a kit lens because I didn't need super shallow depth of field. I think someone made a good point on YouTube somewhere. I forgot where it was. Might be Mark Bone, but it's like super shallow depth of field is honestly, it's like it has its place, but it's so overused. And when I was shooting B-roll, since it does f2.8 to 5. What is this thing? 2.8 to 4.0, right? So it's a variable aperture lens, and it's a 12 to 60. So basically, it's a 24 to 120 mil lens. And if I'm at f4, I'm just gonna make it only helps me to reassure that the subject that I'm shooting, or the product or whatever, is in sharpness, it's in focus. So I really enjoyed it. Again, it's not my A cam, but for a B cam, it's totally fine. We forget that like the GH5 and similar like Micro Four Thirds cameras like absolutely kicked serious butt, and now all of a sudden we forgot that just because Sony said so, and whatever, a few old school photography pros just live and die by full frame. And quite honestly, a lot of you suckers out there would rather be spending on quality, would it be, well, I don't know about APS-C, but definitely Micro Four Thirds cameras has some phenomenal lenses, and no one would know the difference. Okay, so let's just be honest. The fact there is no open gate is crazy from Sony, the Canon R6. Yes, and we're going to talk about that like right after I catch up with all of you. Okay. The combo saved my life at a wedding when there were two other videographers blocking me. I was able to get the ring exchange. No problem. Okay. Well, shout out to you. Okay.
Give me 2 taps and a Ric Flair.
That's right. That's for you. Getting that ring. Yeah, the GH7. I know. It sounds absolutely crazy, but I honestly was like, let me go see what that thing is, how much it is. But honestly, the price of what it is, I would get, at least the S5 Mark II X. It's still pricey up there. But if it was like, I don't know, under $1,500 or something, I'd probably jump on it just to have an excellent B cam, or like an excellent, I don't want to call it a crash cam. Like I wouldn't do that with it, but I would definitely use it as a B-roll cam for sure. Or if I needed a third cam, why not? All right. If I needed a third camera, that would be just fine. For like documentary style interviews. What are your thoughts on the A7V basically being a baby A1 Mark II? Oh boy, I'm going to share all that literally in just a minute. Okay. Don't worry. Hold on to your seats. Mushy. Okay. Whoop. No. Just arrived at destination with the Micro Four Thirds, an Olympus, Lumix GH7, or something else. Oh, just arrived at a destination. Was the Micro Four Thirds a Olympus? Oh, it was the Lumix GH6. For if you're talking about me, just arrived at a GH6 right here. I was shooting B-roll of the subject for the documentary. So it's a GH6. This is literally what. Now look how compact that is. I can this camera can record up to 400 megabits a second. Okay, it does ProRes internally. 4K 120 zero crop, 4K 60 zero crop. It does all these badass things that we want full frames to do. It does it, zero crop, zero overheating, unlimited record time, and a smaller size. I'm just saying, if you're a filmmaker, it's just about getting the quality of what you're shooting and having the right tool for the job, right? So anyway, that's just me. Thank you guys for all of your comments. I can't keep up. I seriously can't keep up. I got to get to this main event. From my only 3 years of photography experience, raw files and exotic lenses are breath. Oh, wait, I'm well past that. Gee whiz. This kind of teased it. 5 lenses arsenal with the same length in silhouette a month ago. Hopefully soon. No specs yet, though. Ooh, okay. I'm looking forward to it. I hear you have the grill ready. Ooh-wee. Yes, I do, sir. You know what? You just, King Kruk, you just made me think of something. I need to find a sound effect that is like cooking, right? You know what? Let's go find a cooking water right now. Okay. I'm gonna find a cooking. Where in the good God's name can a cooking sound effect? Right? You get a brother cooking out here. I'm going to my place where I look for sound effects. There is a place on the internet where I could download free sound effects. And here we go. Let's see. Cooking. Right? Okay, that. Ooh. Yeah, I like that. You know what? I like that. Let me, I'm going to download that. I don't know if I can put it on my thing yet, but I'm going to download this one right here. Sizzling and a cooking, baby. Sizzling and a cooking. Okay. I'm going to download this. And next time, King Kruk, you're going to hear that. You're going to hear that. Where the heck is download? Download. All right, I just downloaded the cooking sizzling effect. Damn, I wonder if I could just drop it in here. That'd be so cool. Let me, you know what? I'm going to try it out. Let's see, Rode. I hope it doesn't kick me off this thing. Okay. Yeah, I want to see if it lets me add that sizzling effect. That'd be awesome. Ooh-wee. That'd be a hot one. Okay. Configure. Place and transfer. Okay, let me hold on. Hold on. All right. I think it's gonna let me do it. I think it's gonna let me do it. I don't know what the hell that is. Choose. Okay. All right. All right. I think we're doing it, King Kruk. Boom. Sizzling effect. Ah, yeah, I'm about to cook. You hear that? Let me know if you hear it. Let me know if you hear it, King Kruk. Yeah, there we go. Okay, brother. All right, so I just downloaded that free sound effect here. What is going on? My God. I mean, this there we go. Got me back. She is. All right. Jordan Drake. Petapixel raves about the GH7. Yeah, the GH7 is magnificent. I mean, you're going to get open gate. You're going to get anamorphic support, 4K 120, 4K 60, all the professional tool assists in the camera that you need. You're going to, as I said, you're going to be able to record up to 400 megabits a second at 422 10-bit. All right. ProRes RAW internally. The camera is a beast. Spec-wise, it's a beast. But it's Micro Four Thirds, so everybody's like, ah! And it has phase detect autofocus. It has the same autofocus as all the as the S5 Mark II, S5 Mark II X. And it has I believe it has Aerilog assist in there. It may have Aerilog color profile. So it's a great camera. It's just no one, it's Micro Four Thirds and everybody's kind of done with that mount, but yet the camera itself is phenomenal and there's phenomenal glass to go with it, right? They have the 10 to, what is it? The 10 to 25 mil f 1.7 from Lumix. It's a $1,500 lens, but it's an awesome lens for filmmaking. So, but nobody pays attention. People keep listening to the same YouTubers talk about the same crap, and you need full frame. You need that. What you need is the right tool for the job. Okay. That's what you do need. And some of y'all are running around with stuff you just don't need. All right. All right. Let me drink this and then we get to the main event. I appreciate you guys' patience. It's like gurgle that down. Now let's talk some smack. All right. Where are we? Get to my media here. And let's get to the main event. Okay, and here we go. All right, so with all that said, I think it's about that time. Let's first go over the Sony specs and the features of the camera itself. So let's head on over to Adorama, and let's talk about these specs. First of all, before I really give my opinion, I'm going to talk about the specs. Hear you all think about it. I know you've already watched everybody's video because I watched about 3 of them myself, so don't worry. I'm guilty as charged. So let's get to right here. Dang, this thing won't like. All right, so it's full frame, partially stacked, just like the S1 II. Just like the Nikon Z6 Mark III, right? These are partially stacked sensors. I believe the Canon R6 III or 2 or whatever it is. I think that one is as well. I can't remember. But I'm sure you could tell me down in the chat. Now, here's the big difference. It's a 33 megapixel camera. Now, I'll be quite honest. From 24 to 33, I think it's just semantics, really. I don't really think anybody professionally will ever be affected from 24 to 33, right? You may see a significant difference from 24 to 50 or something, but I just don't see my career being affected because I use a 24 versus a 33. But whatever. It's a 33 megapixel camera, and it has a newly developed Bion ZR XR2 image processing engine, built-in AI. That is interesting. That I thought was like, okay. Myself, I can't speak for other photographers on YouTube, but some of you may know I've been ranting and raving about the effects of AI when it comes to photography. But here is a positive impact of AI in photography. Putting an actual processor with built-in AI is really cool. Okay, I think that's really cool. Not just the idea. I mean, it's not just the idea that they actually freaking did it, but just think about it. Firmware updates are going to be that much more impactful for a camera that can not only have a faster processor, and a better processor, but AI being implemented into it. Like AI for me using ChatGPT, when it comes to coming up with titles and all this other jazz, it has been a great tool for me, right? AI isn't just all bad. And in this case, this is a good. Not only clearly for subject recognition and autofocus accuracy and perhaps speed, maybe, but definitely accuracy and subject recognition. And I think that's great. I want to see AI I want you to be able to choose the subject you want, and no matter if there's 5 subjects in that frame, it sticks onto that one subject. Because I've noticed with autofocus, sometimes when you have more than one person, it starts jumping all over the place and doing a happy dance, a little pee dance. Okay, so maybe with AI built into a processor, we can try to negate some of those issues, and that's kind of cool. The possibilities, it opens up more possibilities for the performance of a camera in the future for sure. But time will tell. Excellent image quality. Well, no kidding. Deep learning based light source estimation for accurate white balance. Well, that's actually kind of cool. But if you're shooting raw, you generally are pretty good to go. And if you use hold on. If you use something like this, during your shoots, you're pretty much going to be good to go. A little white balance card. This is the passport checker, color checker, whatever they call it. So if you got that, you're pretty good to go regardless. But I'm glad it has that, or at least they're talking about it. Extended raw processing offers refined raw development. Okay, let's go on down. So as we said earlier, full frame, partially stacked sensor. Okay, so it says its readout is 4.5 times faster, which is really cool. Because I actually heard from, I think it was Jared Poland's video, like you're getting photos 2 to 3 times that much quicker. The buffer is able to clear those photos much faster. This one, it says it's blackout free burst for 30 frames a second. Video recording at 4K 120. Now my thing is it cropped, right? Is that 4K 120 cropped? I'm so done. I mean, I get it, processing power and stuff like that, but I want at least 4K 60 no crop. Come on, camera systems, can we get that? Can we get that at full frame by now? You're putting AI into things and all the stuff. Can we get 4K 60 at least at 0 crop and make it normal? Okay. Jeez. So I'm curious if that 4K 120 is cropped or not. So 16 stops at dynamic range, which is pretty smooth. That's kind of where we're at now. 15 to 16 stops at dynamic range is kind of where we're at, especially in this price range. So again, the Bion Z XR2 AI processing unit is in here. So again, it's all about AI based real time. Oh, look at that. Dang, my finger. Recognition, AI based real time recognition. And here it is, real time tracking. So yeah, so that's going to give us more stable, accurate, well, clearly autofocus, stable color reproduction. All right. And so that's pretty cool. I don't know why they're really boasting about this. Like every full frame mirrorless camera should have 5-axis image stabilization, but it is what it is. So it says up to 7.5 step central and 6.5 step peripheral. This is all BS. I mean, it's just a feature that we expect all cameras to have. But I did hear about from the reviews how much better this stabilization is. Unfortunately, when you use active IS, it crops it to all hell and kingdom come. Okay. So that is a serious L. Okay. I saw it crop like a gazillion trillion times so that you could handhold and walk. While I was hand holding and walking with the Lumix and zero crop. Now, granted, no, I could do that with the S5 Mark II. Okay. And it's full frame. So that is a real pain in the butt, but like Sony is synonymous for autofocus, Lumix is synonymous for fantastic in-body stabilization, and that's the bar I always measure all the IBIS from other camera systems is measure it up to Lumix, okay? And just like everybody does with the autofocus, they measure it up to Sony, okay? And if it doesn't reach that bar, then we all call it crap all of a sudden. So anyway. Excellent image quality. So that's due to its 33 megapixel sensor, 16 stops of dynamic range, and that's what it is. So 33 megapixel sensor. I have the Z8, and only time I shoot at the 45 megapixels is when I'm shooting headshots for clients. Otherwise, it stays at the 24 or like medium, whatever the medium is. Where it's shooting HDR captures high dynamic range with option of simultaneous up to 30 frames. So that's cool. I don't like the fact that Sony caps your burst rate when you're using a third-party lens. Okay. I think that's so annoying. That is so annoying. It's like, oh, you have to spend all this money to get the full use of your camera. I don't know any other camera system that restricts your burst rate because you're using a third party. That is so annoying. I don't know how anybody, like, I don't hear people complain about that, but logically it just doesn't make sense to me. Right. And yeah, I just don't that really pigeonholes you into like having to, if you want that open up that feature, you have to spend this X amount more money. And that's a little annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Enhanced subject recognition and tracking because of that new sensor. We already knew that. It says approximately 30% over with an A7. Oh, then the A7 IV. So it does 7K oversampled 4K 60 recording, right? So it's full frame, but and here it is, data required for 4K. Okay, QF HD. It's just Ultra HD, but whatever. To be compressed into spectacular, detailed 4K 60. All right. Well, let me tell you a little something about this. You're not going to get you don't have the anamorphic support, and you don't have open gate. Now, granted, Gerald London, he totally was like, who gives a damn about no damn open gate? And matter of fact, he said it was the most overrated feature. And yeah, I think he's right. And I also think he's a bit wrong about it. I think I'd rather have features than not have features. And for the prices we're paying for cameras now, and that includes the tariff in the US, I want every damn feature. I want every feature. If I'm shooting a camera in a product line in the same line as, in this case, Z6 Mark III, Canon R6. Jesus, I'm so sorry, guys. And the Canon R6 II and the Lumix S1 II. I want those features. I want them. I don't care. I'd rather just turn them off, not use it, and then not have it at all. It is what it is. Okay. I just don't like the fact that, again, a camera system, I know they could put it in there, especially Sony, if anybody. Everybody, gawks their eyes at Lumix sometimes, and they're like, have a small market share of the photography business, but they give you every damn tool you possibly known to man in their cameras, and still be able to give you could get the S5 Mark II X, okay, and it does ProRes internally, etc. You can get all that with all the features, open gate, and it's only $19.99. So it's like when they hold back on features that most of us would appreciate having, and for those who don't want to turn it on, just don't freaking turn it on. I think it's so annoying. It's like when Canon didn't put in IBIS. It's like, are you kidding me? Who doesn't want IBIS nowadays for filmmaking in their camera, especially if you're spending $3,000 for it? That's ridiculous. And that's kind of where I'm at with this, is like, really? So Sony, their cameras are so good that they've been used on Netflix and serious film production projects. Why not have that extra option? Why not? That extra option gives filmmakers that extra reason to say, you know what, let me grab that camera because it can do everything I need. Just like today, I had ironically the GH6. You can say what you want about it, but I had everything I needed. I had all the tools I needed. I didn't need to pull out a second camera because it does this and this one doesn't. I like to have, when you have anamorphic support already in your camera, I'm telling you, it just opens up another world of creativity and possibilities, right? So yeah, you could say, yo, I never needed it. Well, okay, that's fine. But once you have it and you tried it, you're like, oh shoot, I can just go into the menu, switch it, and now I have anamorphic D-squeeze in the camera system. Before I get home, I can see what I like. Yeah, it's awesome. And you kind of don't want to go back, okay? And there is an advantage to it. It's called an efficient workflow, okay? I don't want to have to reframe my whole entire self if I can just shoot open gate and get the best of both worlds. I could shoot wide, I could shoot anamorphic, I could shoot 16:19, I could shoot 9:16. I could do all that without moving. That's called a more efficient workflow, and I'd rather have that option if I want it. So I thought that was a serious mix, because I think at this price, it should definitely have those simple, minor things. It's the same thing I said about the Nikon ZR. Yeah, it's only $2,000, fine, granted, and all that, but it wouldn't have cost probably really nothing to add it. That's the thing. A lot of these companies don't add things as if it's going to cost them an arm and a leg. And I'm just like, really? Because again, I hate to say it again, Panasonic has proven you could do it and still offer a great camera, feature rich, and for an affordable price. Like, God. So I felt that with the Sony here, they should have done that, because they're kind of late to the game in this price range. They're kind of late to the game. Nikon has been sucking a lot of air out of the let me get back to my screen here. I'm ranting now. Okay, guys. I am, as King Kruk saying, I'm cooking right now. Okay, I'm cooking. Okay, there we go, sizzling and baking. So Nikon has been stealing the oxygen out of the room for, I'm gonna say, 2 years for sure. Okay, that Z6 Mark III, to me, is their best balanced, well-rounded camera that Nikon has made thus far. I'm talking about more than the Z8, more than the Z9. It's the best well-balanced between stills and video features, etc., form factor, and performance. The C50 looked really, really good, but I'm not paying that price. But the R6III, the R6II, excuse me, looks phenomenal as well. And then, so you have Nikon, you have that. Oh, and the Lumix S1 II. And you're like, dang, what am I going to do? And so I think that some of these things with the Sony, it's like a little too late. That's just my opinion. Okay. Let me get back. Let me see if I missed anything in this thing before I finish my rants today. I'm ranting it a lot today. In-camera auto noise reduction. That's cool. They should have just added 32-bit flow audio, but I get it. But this is supposed to be a hybrid camera, and you know what? Hey, the Z6 Mark III doesn't have it, but I think that's cool. Noise cancellation, but I don't think it's like a feature that I need to brag about. High frame rate, 4K recording up to 120. Let's see. Does it say anything about cropping? I don't see it. But let me know in the comments in the chat if it crops at 4K 120. Okay. It has a variable angle touchscreen. Whoop, no offense, but whoop de do. I heard here's one thing I really heard excellent news about, which was the effective heat dissipation, right? The thermal management is absolutely excellent in this camera. Gerald Dunn did like something for basically until the battery died. And that was what everybody who said. It was I think Jared Poland, Gerald Dunn. Who else did I watch? I watched somebody else too, but yeah, I think that's phenomenal. And especially after like Lumix having a little debacle with their heat management system when they first released the camera. It's probably because they just wanted to release the camera and they'd fix it later in the firmware, which they did. I think this is great news. I think that's really cool. That is important, especially if you're shooting massive amount of video data or recording it, excuse me, then you're going to create heat. That's just the name of the game, especially at full frame, right? And a electronic viewfinder, bubbity boopity boop. Okay, and that is basically the gist of that. All right. So that's the specs right there, folks. I don't know what to say. All right. In the meantime, in between times, please go ahead and smash that like, that share, subscribe to my channel. If this is the first time you stopping by, thank you so very much. And make sure you go ahead and hit that bell icon, because I swear a lot of you folks don't get notifications of when I go live, when I post videos. I really wish I had a crystal ball to understand how the hell does the Google YouTube algorithm work, because it's a mystery to me. It really is. All right. So please go ahead, not only subscribe, like this video, and hit that bell icon. All right. Let's see here. We do have some comments. And when I mean some, I mean a lot. Where was I? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, get that cooking, okay? And I'm not done cooking on Sony today, all right? Jordan Drake. Oh, yeah. Hey, it's a great camera, man. You absolutely nailed it with the new processor and firmware update possibilities. Yeah, I think that's very exciting. I'm not going to lie. Okay. Just because I don't use Sony, or I haven't ever used Sony, I'm not against another camera brand, but I do notice like certain traits and habits that they do, right? Especially marketing wise. So like Sony produces a phenomenal product, but they always hold back. Like, what the hell? But yes, that AI processing, I think that's something innovative I want to hear more about. I'm hoping other companies start adopting that to make their autofocus that much punchier and snappier. Specifically, well, of course, Nikon, but Lumix as well, because we use Lumix so much for video that any help is good help. So I think that's a great win. And as I mentioned earlier, the firmware updates are going to be that much more impactful and exciting. So that's if they ever get them out. Hello. All right. Because you just never know when it comes to Sony. I don't know, twin. This release is it. Well, I think it is, and it's okay. I'm going to get to that in a second. I want to tell you my personal opinion about the release of this camera, and it's kind of a mixed bag for me. All right. I don't think enough people actually pay attention to the sneaky little move Sony did, and that's the biggest thing. Yeah, I think that is the biggest thing about this release. Personally, I really do. I think you're right. I think that is the biggest thing, plus the heat management. I think that was pretty big too. Those two are the biggest things about this camera, right? The AI integration and the heat management is something to praise for sure. Let's see. 4K 60 in this camera isn't cropped, but 4K 120 is. It sucks, but it is what it is. As a person with an A9 III, I barely ever use it. Well, right on. That's actually, I'll give it that. I'll give it that, because like even today when I was filming, I didn't use 4K 120. I think for most cases, 4K 120 is super slow. Like it's just too slow for me. 4K 60 is that sweet spot, I think, where you get slow, but it's still like, it's smooth, it's slow, but yet you're still like in the action. So cool. If it does that, that's a great compromise. That is a really nice compromise. 4K 60 non-crop, 4K 120 crop. It is what it is. Canon restricts your burst rate with third. Oh, wait. Does it really? I could have sworn Sony did. I could have sworn Sony did as well. I could be wrong. And if I am, let me know in the chat down below. Okay. Let me know, guys. Who's the one that restricts your burst rate? Is it Sony or Canon? I don't know. You know, I thought it was Sony. Okay. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on Sony now. It feels like a good release for Sony users and for new users with enough money. Still, I feel a lot of new users may choose Nikon or Canon. Nikon seems to be in a good position to compete. I couldn't agree with you more. I think Nikon, despite what people complain about, put one foot in front of the other, was super patient, and just really was the most consistent of the bunch, right? Really, out of the big three, they've been super consistent. They listened a lot more, not all the way, giving us a micro HDMI and a ZR and some other stuff, but they listened and they just put one foot in front of the other, and boom, look what they're doing. I think because you're not locked into the Z mount system for the ZR. You get adapters and use PL mount and everything else. I think that really opened up the possibilities with filmmakers using the ZR. And I think that's why it's one of the most popular cameras they've released recently. Okay. So I think you're right about that. They have such great cameras at more affordable price ranges. Think about that. That matters too for new shooters or for shooters who are thinking about getting into Nikon. It's a much safer time to get into Z mount or convert to Z mount. Let's see. R6III versus S1 II versus A7V hybrid camera of the year. I'm gonna say S1 II. I'm gonna say S1 II, but that's my next conversation. When price is considered, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Nikon is in a very good position. And matter of fact, even the lower cost Nikon mirrorless cameras are still pretty damn awesome. It'll get you in the door, get you started. Okay. Let's see here. Gerald Undone is a Sony paid sales agent. I don't know, but I'm just saying what I see. I see that Sony does certain things, and like if your marketing tool is, hey, it has 5-axis image stabilization, that means you don't have enough amazing features to sell this new camera on, right? And that sends a signal to me loud and clear. But like I said, I think they should have leaned on the AI processing really heavy and aim on the thermal management really heavy, because those were some things people complained about with other camera systems, ergo Lumix S1 II. But ironically, that was the first thing they fixed, okay? Canon doesn't allow you to use third-party lenses. Oh, yeah, Canon doesn't want you to use anything, okay? Except they're very expensive and heavy glass. And that, my friend, is no bueno. Sony restricts burst rates within third party. Okay, good. All right. That's what I thought. Because I could have sworn with this camera, you only get up to 10 frames a second using third-party lenses. So if you have a Tamron, Sigma, etc., even though you spent good money and it has a native E mount, you get restricted. And I think that's a real unnecessary move on Sony's part, because I know a lot of people who rock with Sony, live and die by Sony, and they're not going anywhere, right? So, yeah, shame on them for that. I think it's a petty move. As far as the camera release goes, I think not every camera needs to be for you. I just think we are so focused on the here and now. 5 years ago, Canon was being crapped all over and everyone switched. Yeah, that's true. But I like that C50 looks really cool. I like it. I don't like that it doesn't have IBIS. What were you thinking? But everything else, it looks like a sweet camera. I like that it has the FX3 body form factor. It came with an awesome looking handle with an XLR jack. I was like, damn, this is pretty cool. You know, I like Canon, but I don't like the prices of their lenses, and I don't like the lens choice. I don't like that I have to be locked into Canon RF mount and those very expensive glass. That's hard for me to. It's a hard pill to swallow. Now everyone is back and loving Canon. So what a damn waste of money that was. Yeah, I'm sure a few of them lost it. That's why I stay right where I'm at. I love using Nikon. I love using Lumix. I'm happy with both systems. I've never thought about like, gosh, these cameras just don't do what I want it to do. No, I have everything I need. I'm totally fine. Do want more glass though. Okay. So what I'm getting at is that if you're in an ecosystem that is making you money, that is your profession, then stick with it. I'd be stupid to leave Sony if I didn't invest in those lenses. And I'm sure there's another. But yeah, you're right. If you're in the ecosystem, rock and roll, the lenses are our biggest investments, and most of us are very well invested in that ecosystem. And now these new releases of cameras, like it's just like little updates, really. That's all we're really getting for the amount of money they're charging us. So it has a AI processing chip. That's really cool for autofocus recognition and stuff. I think that's phenomenal, but you're paying $3,000 for that. You know, I need a little bit more for my $3,000. That's just me. I don't really see the problem with Canon not allowing. Well, first of all, love is battlefield. Thank you very much for showing up to Let's Talk Photography. I don't really see the problem with Canon and not allowing third party. I've owned lots of third party lenses, so Sony and regretted all of them except Sigma. I hear what you're saying, right? Like, I mean, I have Viltrox lenses. I love them. If I shot sports, I would probably do more. If it's a third party, it'd be Sigma for sure. I do portraits, but I do notice a performance difference. But I want to make that choice on my own. I want to make the choice whether I want to choose this lens over that lens, sacrifice a little performance here for a price here, or whatever the case may be. I just want the option. I want the freedom in America to choose my own lenses and the price I want to pay. Okay. So that's just me, you know, but I hear you. And Sigma, you really can never go wrong with Sigma. I don't care what anybody says. That is the best third-party brand that I've used. I don't have extensive history with Tamron, but I know their lenses are great. But Sigma, like, I've never had an issue with. So I think that's a great choice if that's what you're rolling with. They won't come out with a new FX camera that is going to meet the standards that the industry is setting for video and potentially exceeding it. Well, you know, I'll tell you one thing: they'll promise you an update and give it to you in 2 years. Okay, that's what I know for sure that will happen. But the FX3 really set a tone, a standard, really. And I think they should really lean into that, right? They should really lean into that quality, form factor, performance, etc. Lean into it. Throw in the open gate, anamorphic support, all that crap. Sony S1 II is definitely the hybrid camera of the year for the price, feature basis. Yes, Lumix has nothing to lose by throwing it all in the camera to push for more market share. And that's exactly what I thought. I said, after all that, damn, Sony looks a little late to the game. If you didn't hear me, what I said earlier, I was like, Sony, you're kind of, what do they say? Two and the dollar short. What is it? Two minutes and a $1 and a minute short. Whatever the concept is, they're just late. Z6 Mark III does. You know what? Let me get to this next topic, okay, guys. All right. Right here. So as I was saying, the Lumix S1 II, to me, for I think it's $3,200, $3,100. You're getting a lot in that camera. You're getting ProRes RAW. Sony doesn't have that. Okay, now that is an L. And I say that not because everybody needs ProRes RAW. I don't shoot ProRes very much ever, right? But I have the option. I have the option in the Z6III. I have the option in the Z8, Z9. I have the option in the S1 II if I want it. Again, it's the option. And if a client demands it, I don't want to have to think about renting another camera or buying another camera. I could just literally turn on a switch, and I have the option. Open gate is another serious thing. Okay. You get that. You don't get it in the Z6 Mark III, but you at least get the ProRes and RAW and all those other codecs, which is really, really nice. And it does 6K up to 60 frames. Right. So you get you do get some other things with that, which I like. Lumix stabilization is bar none the best out of the bunch for sure. I don't like having to use so much active IS to get smooth IBIS and then crop the hell out of my footage. Right? When I'm like making shot lists and imagining a shot and like how I want to frame it, I don't have to like, oh, okay, whatever my imagination is times 1.5 times crop, and that, okay, now I need to use this lens that I don't have so that I can still get the same area coverage. Like, that is so annoying. I hate crop. Oh boy. And I hate to say it again, but that was one of the joys of using the GH6 today, a Micro Four Thirds cameras, because every time I switch from 4K 60 or whatever, or back to 4K 24, there was zero crop. My framing stayed the same. So with all that said, I mean, you do get it in the Nikon Z6 Mark. You still get that in the Z6III. What else is there? Frame rate. The biggest frame rate difference. So you have 30 frames for the A7V. Lumix S1 II is, let me see what the hell the Lumix S1 II Max shooting is. Well, you get 5.1 recording. I think it's 6K, but it does 5.1 recording. Open gate, dual native ISO. I don't think the Sony A7V has dual native ISO, which is really cool to use. It has 7 stops of stabilization on the S1 II. Okay, let me open this up so you guys can see what I'm looking at. All right. Here we go. Okay, we're in specs. So you only get 26 megapixel here. Oh, 24, excuse me. And which I don't really care about that part. Where is the it says, look at that, up to 70 frames a second. Jesus, that's for probably the photo stacking or something. But here you go. ProRes RAW HQ internal. That's an awesome win. That's an awesome win. That means I could bring this camera on a professional shoot and not feel hindered. Okay. That's really, really cool. Look at these. Look at this data. Oh my God. 1.9 gigabytes a second, 4.2 gigs a sec. Oh my God. That's so much color information you can record. That's the whole point. True cinema. This is true 4K right here. If you look at Netflix and they're like, there are video requirements, when they say 4K, they mean this. Even though I'm sure if people have used, 4K and what we call 4K, which is Ultra HD. But this is what they really would like. That. Where else is it? What else is this thing that I oh, here we go. This is an awesome win right there. CF Express Type B. Full HDMI. Boopity boopity bop. And there we go. Okay. Just off the top of my head. Now, let me look at the, what was it? Adorama. Now let me look at Nikon Z6III. Whoops. There we go. Let me see their specs here. Now this one is, with the kit lens, is 26. I think without it, you're closer to like 23 or 21 or something. I mean, $2,200. Okay. So even with the kit lens, you're getting an entire system. All right. You get, again, as I said, 6K up to 60 frames a second, 24 megapixel sensor. No open gate on this one. So I think it was Greg Corker who said, you know, it's the best well-rounded camera of the year for sure for the price. You're really getting more than what anybody else is throwing into their camera systems at this price range. But look at that, 6K at 60 frames at raw, bam, footage, if that's what you're looking for. Now, I've done that. I did ProRes, and I'm telling you, it kills your memory card. But it could do it. That's the important part. And it didn't overheat on me. Okay. Let me see. Let's get to the specs. What am I doing? There we go. Okay. I'm just gonna look through for like the real big deal. All this color tones, you know, features that actually matter. Hybrid phase detect. Cool. Bibbidi bop. Skibbity bam bam boom. Ultimately, where does it show the frame rate for stills? Did I pass that? Burst rate? Did it show me the burst rate? But anyway, I think it does 20 frames a second. And it doesn't matter what lens I'm using, okay? Because one thing I do have is I have more third-party lenses for the Z-mount than I do for the native Z-mount lenses. Okay, look at that. You could do 12-bit video. Bam. Okay, you do 12-bit video internally. No extras. You don't need to shoot to an Atomos or external recorder. That's really cool. Let's see here. And some other good stuff, okay? You all know what this camera's about. Just trying to see anything. Okay, here we go. Does it give me... Okay, so yeah, up to 20 frames a second. So it says for S1 II, you could do up to 70. Jesus. This is 20, and the Sony has 30. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think for most people, for sports or like high school games and stuff, that camera is going to be just fine. That's for sure. All right, that's for sure. So, oh wait, let me see these comments. Oh boy, go. Here we go. Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is a very good point. Hey, I'm a Sony user, and I know for sure. But here is the thing: I own an A9 III and a 1 II, which are monsters of cameras and some of the best tech you can have currently. They kill it on my job. Well, that's the thing, is that like Sony knows how to make a great camera system, and they have the tech, and they for sure have the budget to make it happen. So that's why it annoys me when they like they're cheap on the features, especially when all the competitive cameras and other brands at the same price point are throwing it in there. That's my gripe. That's all. So they are missing certain features that would be nice, and I would love it. But the workflow I have with them, along with my FX6, is easy, and that's what matters, baby. But I had to start all over again. Well, you know, And that's the thing too. That's why I talked about the GH6 earlier in my very positive experience, and a fun experience, to tell you the truth, using a Micro Four Thirds camera today for a documentary. So it's a tool. And if it matches your workflow and it makes your workflow that much better, then grab that camera. If it doesn't make your workflow more efficient and effective, it's not the camera to upgrade to. It's not for you. You know, not every camera needs to be for you. That's for sure. That'd be silly. Outside of the early reviews, seems like everyone knows they're jiving. Yeah, pretty much. I think so too. I think you're absolutely right. I definitely entertain Lumix unless a new FX camera comes out. Sony has a stranglehold on the production industry. Well, I mean, Sony's had a long history in film production, or definitely TV broadcast. Ironically, Lumix does too. It's called Vericam. If folks don't know, that's Panasonic's TV broadcast camera line. So it's like, yeah. And that was the one thing about the S1H. When it came out, it had the same color science as their professional Vericams. And that's what made the S1H really stand out for the real tech nerds. Everybody else just didn't like S1H because it had a contract-based autofocus. It was bigger, it was a little heavier, etc. But the camera was and is a phenomenal camera. Picture quality, pound for pound, its picture quality is stunning. So, because it backed up its color science with Vericam. So Sony has the same thing, same history, same tech, same experience. So yes, in the production industry, and they're very well trusted. The dual native ISO for the A7V is 800 to 8000. They just never advertise it. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's a clear shame right there. They rather it has 5-axis image stabilization, but not one of these useful tech specs, which is dual ISO 800 and 8000. Now that is a great piece of news. I wish that they would brag about. That deserves some bragging points. Dual native ISO. Okay, because I don't think the Z6 Mark III has that. They don't have it. I know Lumix does. I love dual native ISO. I shot a recent short film with ISO 4000 using dual native ISO, and it looks so clean. It looks super clean. It was with the S5 Mark II. Okay. R6III does 40 frames. Okay, well, I stand corrected. But you know what? You want to hear something crazy? I never use more than 20 frames a second. I still have yet to find a reason, but I do portraits, so that could be a reason. I'm sure if you did birding or sports, obviously more frame rates could be a great help, but I just never have used it more than 20. Recognize that most A7V reviewers compared it to the A7 IV instead of the Z6III, S1 II, absolutely. They just went back into time and said, hey, it's better than the last one. Hey, it's got this 1 or 2 extra things. And I was like, yeah, those 2 extra things aren't worth $3,000. Okay. That is not going to be convincing me or for me to get on here and talk to you all about this amazing, innovative upgrade to the A7 series. No, not for $3,000. Because that's what you're going to spend. You're going to spend about $3,000, $3,100 with tax. And I just don't see that, So anyway, I am going to have to head out of here. It's been a long one. I'm a little tired. And it was real fun talking to you guys all about this. Now, of course, down below, make sure on the way out, you smash that like, share, subscribe to my channel. I will be going live next week, of course, same time, 4 p.m. every Thursday for another episode of Let's Talk Photography. And you're definitely more than welcome. Please subscribe. Oh, chat, hold this subscription. Thanks for hey, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for participating in the chat. Thank you all. I really, really, really appreciate it. So in the meantime, in between times, you know what I got to do? I got to start with this cool, funky music, which means I'm about to get up out of here. Yeah. So we'll see what happens between now and next week. Either way, I want to hear from all of you. I really appreciate all of your support. Subscribe on the way out. Like this video on the way out. Until next time, keep shooting and stay creative.